if you step back and look at markets, what markets truly are a symphony of the global language, which is what? Finance.
You know, we look back at 2008, we look at times where we were in a real bull market, and those, but particularly 2008, and this is really fascinating. 2008 seems like it was a really difficult time, but actually those times are much easier as investors. Those are easier to figure out what to do. You're either running for the door or buying in when there's blood on the street. Times like right now are more difficult because we're in a little bit of a malaise, and so what you have to do right now is this is the time when you have to stick to your process and what I would say your allocation. Right now is the time to not try to figure things out in the greater world, but to try to rebalance things in your portfolio. It's a great time to buy low. International stocks are down. Bond rates are moving very quickly. So it's funny though, because we think that the big market crashes are the hard times, but really what's difficult are the times where we're less certain about what the heck is happening.
No one who was giving investment advice in my world knew what they were doing. Not a single person. Nobody could give me any guidance, so I looked for an answer. I took classes, I read textbooks, I talked to colleagues, I subscribed to newsletters, I bought as many books as I could possibly buy, I paid consultants to come and help me, and what I realized is that the only thing that gave me answers was when I studied the human brain. It was the only time I had insight. That was the only advantage I could get over the other people in this business, was when I started to determine how the brain worked, how that decision-making machinery in our head ticked. It made me a better investor. Oddly, along the way, I noticed something else, and that was that as I was learning how the brain was working, I was starting to observe how people were speaking, and not speaking in English or Mandarin or any other Spanish or French, but speaking in a different language, a language that I can comprehend, which is the language of money. I started to listen to this conversation of money. And if you think about it, money is a conversation, money is a language rather, that everyone across the world speaks. The currency itself might be different, but the behaviors of people are exactly the same. I've spent my career learning the language and then listening to what it's saying. And I finally figured out what it's saying.
Outside of the market itself, and you can bring me back to the market in just a minute, but outside of the market itself, it's the way that our brain works, and our brain looks for patterns in everything. And one thing that we have a really difficult time realizing as humans, even just in on the species level, is that there are no patterns. And we have a really difficult time with that because we're afraid to admit that things are more random than they seem. So in the market, we're looking for patterns in the market just like we do in life. So from a day-to-day perspective, the market's been pretty crazy. But here we are again, you and I sitting trying to figure out what the heck is going on.
I want you to start thinking about the way that you think. I'm going to help you understand what happens inside your head. We're at a tipping point. What's interesting about what's going on in the world right now is that what's happening is that there is a mindfulness movement. You all have probably noticed yoga is getting bigger, meditation's getting bigger. The whole mindfulness movement is happening. It's a tough job. It's a fascinating job. Financial management is not just knowing how to create a cash flow statement. Financial management is being able to read the emotions of the world and being able to look into the future and try to determine how are we going to navigate, how are we going to steer this boat that is our company, given what we, as its financial managers, as its fiduciaries, see coming our way.